Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here today. As always, if you are new here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And it's been a long time. I am okay. Everyone is fine. I just needed some time off, and that's it. I just needed to take a break. For those of you who were watching my car chat videos, a few months back, you guys are familiar with the fact that my mom passed away in December of last year. And so that was pretty traumatic for me. And then right after that, we ended up getting a puppy. One of my youngest, or my youngest, not one of my youngest, but my youngest son, he ended up getting a puppy, and so he works, and I pretty much puppy sit every day. I've been doing that for 7 months now. And I will throw in a picture of that puppy because he is going to be 1 year old next month. So he's kind of getting out of that puppy stage now. And he is just a sweet little guy. I love him to pieces. But anyway, between just dealing with the loss of my mom and having the puppy here and, making products for Etsy, I just have not had the opportunity to make any videos. And so I deeply apologize. And I just thank all of you. If you are still subscribed, I thank you. I also thank you if you've reached out. I know I have not responded. I'll be honest with you. There are times when I sit down and I go to type something and here comes Momo climbing over me and, doing this and doing that and wanting to know what I'm doing and sniffing the iPad or sniffing my phone. It's really, really hard to do anything with him around. But like I said, he is getting a little bit older and it's getting a little bit easier. I haven't even really watched a whole lot of true crime videos. So, I've kind of just fallen out of the loop. Today was the first time that I watched anything, and it was Michelle After Dark. Actually, it was Michelle Walks. It was her live that she talked about what we're going to read on today. And so, yeah, also I do want to put out there that private readings are always available. They're still available. They've always been available. I know I haven't been advertising for them. However, I do have regulars that come back on a regular basis, and I do appreciate them. But they are always available. If you are interested in a reading, all you have to do is email me. I will have that in the description box, and I can pin it to the comment section as well. All right, so let me see. How do I want to start this? Oh, okay. For starters, I do live in Indiana, and I'm about a 2.5 hour drive from Delphi, I think. I've never been to Delphi. I do live in northern Indiana, so, I've been to Indianapolis, I've been to Fort Wayne, I've been through that area. I might have seen exit signs or something along those lines, but I've never had to go there for any reason. I've never been there. But I did grow up in a small town. Now, I do not live in a small town in Indiana. So perhaps I don't share that same sentiment of, oh, it's creepy here, or there's a weird vibe. I don't have that experience where I'm at, okay? It sounds like a lot has come out in these past couple of days. It is craziness, and we are talking about the document that the defense team of Richard Allen, who has been arrested for the murders of Abby and Libby. There is a multi-page document that has come out, and it has shaken the foundation of this case. Now, we all know, if you've been following this case, Richard Allen was arrested last year for these murders, but now his defense team has come out and said that, they've got the wrong guy, that this is a ritualistic cult-like crime, murder, and that it has infiltrated the police department and the corrections officers or the prison guards. And, Richard Allen, there is an audio out there of him confessing to his wife that he did do these murders. However, now the defense is claiming that Richard was being threatened by prison employees to make that phone call and to make that confession. And if he didn't do that, his family would be harmed. Okay, so, wow. Okay, so what is Odinism? Odinism is an ancient Norse religion. Okay, I don't know anything about Odinism. I never even heard of it, believe it or not. Apparently Odin was a god. I am familiar. I do believe I have seen the name Odin, but I didn't know that there was a specific term, Odinism, attached to that particular god. Okay, so I didn't know that. And I don't know anything about the rituals or anything like that. And I don't know anything about that being here in Indiana. Not that it isn't, because it could very well be. There's a lot of things going on here in Indiana that I'm not aware of. So just because I've never encountered anything like that doesn't mean that it's not happening. But I do know that there is a presence of KKK. But again, I don't know anybody that, at least I'm aware of, that is a member of that. Never had any associations with anything like that here. The thing with the Odinism right now is that it is being connected to white supremacy. And I think that there is, that's kind of, that is, it's one of those things where I almost have to wonder, is it that, is Odinism, a racist religion, or is it just people who are racist are studying or aligning themselves to this Odinism? Because from what I do know of pagan religions is that usually you're not out there doing evil or killing. There's people that do that stuff, but usually that's not what it is, okay? And when I looked up Odinism specifically, as far as the rituals, I could be wrong, but it seems like the rituals are done at night. And we know that Libby and Abby were killed in broad daylight. So that wouldn't really align with the rituals, with the Odinism. And then we have things that have come out as far as the crime scene with the staging or the sticks that were placed on the bodies. Whole nonsense with that, right? I mean, if you guys have been following this case and you know what I'm talking about, these sticks that were placed, the question is were these sticks placed there intentionally, or were they just happenstance? This person grabbed a bunch of stuff and tried to cover the bodies. Let me write that down. And then there's this thing about the letter F on the tree. Now, it's not a letter F. It's supposedly a Odinism or a rune. Now, I don't know anything about runes, but it's supposed to be a symbol. So I don't believe it's an F. It's supposed to be a symbol. However, I've seen depictions of that symbol or what... Okay, let me back up because I kind of went ahead of myself. Where the girls were, they were placed near a tree, and on that tree was what police, I believe, thought was blood spatter or perhaps a handprint. However, now the defense is bringing up the possibility that this is actually a rune symbol associated or aligned with Odinism, and it looks like an F. So that rune symbol happens to kind of resemble an F, and it has its own meaning, okay? But I was watching, what was it, Crime Daily or something? I don't know. I'll put the link in the description box of what I watched today, so you can watch this yourself. They actually came up with their own depictions based on what was described in the documents. And it doesn't really look like anything. It just looks like it could potentially be a hand or blood spatter, okay? Was this a ritualistic killing? Were these sticks arranged to make these symbols, or were they just picked up and randomly placed? I mean, is Richard Allen responsible for these murders? Is he the only one responsible? There's other people that are being mentioned. I have the name written down here somewhere. Where is the name? There is a guy named Elvis, I remember that. So there was a guy named Elvis, and then there was a guy named, where is his name? We still have Keegan Kline, and there's another guy that looks like he could be BG. He has some similarities physically. Where did his name go? Maybe I didn't write his name down. Okay, so we've got some other people that have been named in this case. Are they involved? You know, is Richard Allen innocent? Is he psychotic? Is he desperate? Is he, perhaps obsessed with this Odinism himself? Is this something that he learned about in prison? Is this a story that he has just made up while he's been sitting in prison for a year and it sounds good? Because at the end of the day, I have to wonder, would a defense team, because the defense team is actually making some pretty serious accusations, because they actually said that when they went to interview or went to meet with Richard Allen, that there were correction officers trying to film him, okay, and that violates their, confidential time. And on top of that, they're also claiming that they seen with their own eyes corrections officers on their work uniforms wearing badges that have something with Odinism on there. So, that is kind of intense, and that's coming from them. They're saying that they witnessed that. So I would imagine that at the end of the day, if an attorney made something up like that, wouldn't you have some consequences? Could you not be disbarred or have something happen if it were to come out that you did not have that experience or you didn't see that? So there's some things here that are kind of like, okay, this is strange. And then let's not forget, finally, last but not least, and then I'll start. I know I've talked for 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I apologize. We have Doug Carter. If you've watched any of his press conferences, there's one press conference where he references a movie called The Shack. And that is a movie that I believe is based off of a book. And it is somewhat of a religious Christian type of movie. Okay, if you're not familiar with it, Google it. I've watched it. I watched it about a year ago, so I kind of have I vaguely remember it, but it's a movie about forgiveness. Okay. And Doug Carter mentions The Shack in one of his press conferences. He also makes a reference to the Bible, okay? And then there was something that he said to the murderer. I think it was something to the effect of, the girls were not how you left them. All right, the girls were not how you left them. And so there has been this kind of religious connotation to it from the beginning. What's going on? All right, so there's so much stuff here. Let's just get into it and see. So first off, I want to just pull a couple of cards on the Odinism to begin with and just see if there is some correlation or connection with the Odinism practice and the murders of Libby and Abby. All right, is there a connection between the study or the practice of Odinism and the murders of Libby and Abby? I don't even know what to think myself. I'm kind of up in the air, but if I had to take a guess today, I would say that Richard Allen has some defense attorneys that are really working for him. But that's concerning because, like I said, making claims about the correction officers having recording devices and interfering with their private conversations and wearing badges on their uniforms with the Odinism whatever on there. That's concerning. And would they lie about that? Okay. All right, so 5 of Pentacles, we have the Tree of Life, we have 2 people. All right. Okay. So 5 of Pentacles reversed. We have the 2 of Cups, or sorry, not the 2 of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and we have the Knight of Swords reversed. Okay. This actually gives me a vibe of no. Okay. When I ask, is Odinism involved with these murders, I feel like we are looking at more or less 2 individuals. Okay. So that would be potentially Richard Allen and someone else. And these are the 2 individuals here, okay? It was cold that day. It was in the winter. They were covered up. Maybe one guy had a bum leg or something along those lines. Maybe he was limping. Well, we know that BJ has been, speculated that there's a kind of a strange way he's walking. Maybe there's a limp or something. So that, to me, makes me feel like this here is BG. This is the one. He's also wearing blue. We know that BG is wearing a blue jacket in the picture or the video. So I feel like this is BG and this is somebody else. But this person is bigger than BG. So to me, this makes me feel like BG is a follower and this person here is the leader. So this is the one that's running the show. So in this person here, it could be a woman. Could be a woman. It looks like a female in this image here, but doesn't mean that it's a woman. I just thought I'd mention that. I don't feel like it's a woman. I feel like we are looking at 2 men that are involved in this crime, and BG is not the one calling the shots. Okay, he's the one following and doing what he's told. This other person here is the big guy, so to speak. We do have BG here wearing a hat, okay? And we have this person here covered up with like a shawl or a blanket or something like that. Which is creepy. It gives me the creeps when I think about the situation. Was there somebody else out there covered up trying to hide their identity? That's what I get. Somebody trying to hide their identity, which means that, obviously if you're committing a crime, you want to hide your identity. But is it because it is a small town? Perhaps they didn't want to be even seen or recognized going into the park. So I feel like this is less to do with a cult-like group with multiple people and more to do with 2 sick individuals who very much could be into things like Odinism or, white supremacy or could just be crazy, right? But I feel like that's more in line with what is coming out. And then, of course, the fact that it is a Pentacles, it's an Earth card. Is that a financial thing here? I'm not really picking that vibe up. I feel like it's more of a mental health thing that's coming up in this card. Okay, there's some mental health issues there that I think obviously these people, both of them, are dealing with. And then we have the Knight of Cups, and that is a leisurely kind of stroll. Okay, that makes me think about the luring of the girls potentially. Now, everybody talks about, could this have been a planned thing? But it couldn't have been a planned thing, right? Because this was an impromptu decision to go out to the bridge. But we don't know that, right? I think Libby's sister, Kelsey, has come out and said, no, this was something that was impromptu that morning. They needed a ride. They didn't have a ride. Then they got a ride and I took them and it wasn't, but we don't know, right? I have always been under the belief that Libby and Abby the night before potentially had planned to maybe see if they could get a ride the following morning. And it's possible that Kelsey just isn't aware of that. Could they have been communicating with somebody online and maybe that person was like, hey, do you want to meet tomorrow? There's no school. Maybe you can get a ride to go out here. And that was their plan. Get up, have breakfast, act like nothing's out of the ordinary. And then, oh, hey, by the way, can we go out to the bridge? Nobody thinks twice about it. We'll go. So that's kind of where I've always felt that that's how it was. So it could have very well have been premeditated from even the night before, okay, to prepare. But I do feel like this card here is representing that, and it's representing that luring, okay? That's what I get from that. There's an offer, there's something. I'm giving you something, and in return, you're coming. And that horse is also going towards that body of water. We know that there was like a creek there, near where the Monon High Bridge is. So I just feel like this was planned, even if it was just a 24-hour plan, but this was something that was planned. And I do feel like there was an online culprit that was pretending to be a love interest, so to speak. And then we have the Knight of Swords. And so this is, to me, these kind of contradict each other. We have, this is what was used to get him out there, but this is what happened. And this was totally unexpected. And it's coming out reverse, so I don't feel like things went the way it was planned, okay? Things just kind of got all screwed up. If it had came out like this, I would have said perhaps everything that they had planned, it went off without a hitch, but it didn't. Okay, everything was kind of chaos. It just didn't happen the way they expected, and things had to be altered, okay? So whatever that means, I don't know, but I just feel like it was chaos, and it was speedy. Maybe too speedy. That's a fast card, so, you can interpret that as a couple of different ways, but I feel like it was almost... there's something here with the timing of this card, okay? So whether whether they felt rushed, or whether they took their time, or they should have been quicker, or it's something to do with the time. So I'm not really feeling the Odinism. I'm not sure here. Okay, so let me just ask in another way, were the murders of Abby and Libby, were they ritualistic in any way? Were they ritualistic in any way? Okay, were the murders of Abby and Libby, were they ritualistic in any way? The Three of Swords reversed. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. This to me is that there's something else. There's something else going on here. And it makes me feel like it's more of perhaps having to do with that Knight of Cups. I feel like there's a connection here with these two cards. Is there a relationship? Is there something along those lines? A boyfriend, somebody pretending to be a boyfriend, somebody pretending to be somebody else, like we know Keegan Kline, that scenario. Let me pull a couple of cards on Keegan Kline. Is Keegan Kline involved in these murders? Is Keegan Kline involved? And, I was even quick to eliminate Keegan Kline from the beginning just because of his physical appearance, right? He didn't look like BG. He didn't look like Bridge Guy. But let's go back to the Five of Pentacles, okay? This is Bridge Guy here in the blue and the hat. There's a bigger person involved. So he's out front. He's ahead. Is it possible, let's say the girls are here in the middle. Is it possible that Bridge Guy here is in front of the girls or behind the girls, right? Let's say they're walking this way. Let's say this here is the bridge, and they're literally walking in that direction. And the girls are here and they're going that way, but then they see this guy and they're creeped out and they stop here at the edge of the bridge and they turn around and they face this guy and they get him on camera. But what if this person here in the front was actually over here and they hadn't seen him? He was kind of crouched over. He is kind of bent over, right? He looks a little bit hunched over. He's bigger. He's bigger than BG. Could that mean weight-wise? Could it be height? He's just bigger. I'm just picking up he's bigger. You know, and he's out in front. He's a few steps ahead of BG. So we have BG coming from behind, and we have this other person coming in the front of them, and they kind of close in on them, and they have no choice other than to follow them. Who's the voice? Is the voice BG? Is it the person that is maybe closer to them over here? You know, one thing I've always wondered about is the recording. You know, when we're watching that video, BG is kind of far off. He looks like he's a good 15, 20 feet off yet in the distance. But the video or the audio sounds like he's right there. Okay, so either police have cropped it to put the voice with the image of him walking, or is it possibly somebody else standing closer to the girls back here? And we're just assuming that the voice belongs to this person. I don't know. All right, so let me ask that. Does the voice that we hear, is that the voice of BG? Okay. The King of Cups. Well, the first thing that spoke to me with this card coming out is that blue, that blue outfit that he has on, their robe or whatever you want to call it, and that crown. Okay, so it does kind of make it. I'm leaning towards this actually being BG. Now, another thing I'm thinking about with this king here, I'm also comparing it to that Knight of Cups, because we have two cups now, okay? But I said that this person here was bigger, perhaps more important, perhaps bigger in size, perhaps the ringleader, okay? I didn't say he was older. So this could, you know, I'm just saying physically, okay? This is earthly. So physically, I feel like he is bigger, not necessarily older. So I do believe that the voice most likely is BG, and perhaps the cops or whoever did the audio, maybe they just put it together like that, or, you know, maybe he's closer to them than what he appears on film. Okay, so I don't feel like the murders were ritualistic. Were the murders made to look ritualistic? Were the murders made to look ritualistic? Another thing with the crime scene, you know, I was thinking about it, and I don't know. I don't know anything about rituals or sacrifices or anything about that. I did look this afternoon, and it, you know, according to Wikipedia, right, these rituals are done under the cover of darkness. And I'm sitting here looking at this moon card. But the rituals are usually done under the cover of darkness, and this is something that happened in broad daylight. But another thing is that if this was ritualistic, and they left those things, you know, maybe to be seen, you know, wouldn't they be more clear about it? Wouldn't they be more obvious about it? Because it sounds like the police just, you know, didn't really think anything of it, you know, thought that the sticks were just, they didn't even collect the sticks. They went back a couple of weeks later and collected the sticks. So, which I find odd, because regardless of it being ritualistic or not, you would think that they would collect it for fingerprints or blood or something. So there's just so much stuff. It's like you put up some arguments on this side, and then you have, you can counteract that with other questions. So it's craziness. But wouldn't they want to make what they did more clear? Would they want anyone else to take the credit for that? Because if they were trying to hide it, they wouldn't leave any of those symbols behind at all. So that must mean that they were trying to let it be known that they're like, hey, this was us, and we were doing this, and this is what this means. So we're going to make sure that you know that this is what it means. And it doesn't sound like it was done like that. Okay, so was this crime, or were these murders made to look like it was ritualistic? Okay, so we've got the Queen of Cups, the Justice card, the Six of Cups reversed, and let me pull one more in the Two of Cups. Look, we got a lot of water. We got a lot of water coming up in this reading. So that tells me that there's a lot of emotions connected to this crime. So there's something I feel like a little bit deeper than just a sacrifice or some ritual. I feel like there's somebody was more connected to these girls, or one of these girls, than we think. And perhaps, okay, one of these girls, their mother is in that person's life somehow. And this came up in another reading. I don't know which video it was that I posted, but I did pick up one of the girls' mothers before. And it doesn't mean that I'm talking about Abby's mom, okay? Because Libby also has her mom. And I'm not talking about her grandma. I'm talking about her biological mom, okay? Because Libby lived with her grandparents. So mom is coming up. Somebody's mom is in this world, or is connected to one of these individuals at least. And I feel like law enforcement either is aware of it, or they're going to be aware of it, but I feel like all of these things are going to come out eventually. That Justice card makes me feel good that it's coming out upright. The scales are balanced here in this one. It's taking a while, and we don't understand what is going on completely, and now we have all of this stuff thrown into the mix, and it's just, stirring everything up, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is craziness, and what's wrong with Indiana, and what's going on with Delphi, and all these things. And I don't think it's that. I don't. I think that we've got two individuals. One individual perhaps is more connected to one of these girls. It could be to the girl herself. It could be a connection to the mom. There could be some anger or feelings or hurt feelings towards the mom. And this was I'll get you back. I'm going to get your daughter. I'm going to hurt your daughter for this. That's kind of what I'm getting. I'm getting perhaps this is a relationship gone wrong, or a bad breakup, or somebody that wanted a relationship with someone and it didn't happen. Could that be one of the girls, Libby or Abby, or could it be one of the moms? Was there anybody in this lady's life that she was in a relationship with at one time and it ended? Or somebody who maybe was obsessed with her? That's what I'm picking up here. But I feel like police, given my reservations on their investigation, because I feel like there's things that they really fumbled here, I feel like they have a pretty good idea of what is going on here, okay? And I'm going to have to pull some cards on what else do I have here? Prison guards. Okay, prison guards, practice Odinism. Okay, so let me re-enter these cards here and shuffle again, because I want to change pace here a little bit. And but anyway, so I to go back to the original question, I do believe that this was not about a ritual. And so if it was staged, or if it did resemble anything like that, then it possibly was staged and not ritualistic. I think this is something deeper and more personal. Okay, were the prison guards practicing Odinism? Okay. Okay, is there anything, let me just word it a little bit differently, because I'm not really picking up the Odinism at all, so I don't want to keep focusing on that. But I want to ask if there's any kind of, corruption or mishandling of the case at all. Is there any kind of mistakes that were made, or anything along those lines? Take this one. Ace of Wands, that would be a yes. And it's a stick in this case. It's a stick. All right, so the handling of the sticks, literally. That's one thing that they messed up on. I do believe that they should have collected everything at that time. You would think that they would. You would think that that would be a given, right? Not necessarily because of it being a ritual or a symbol, but just DNA. So that is unreal. So that was a blunder on their part, and I think that they know that. And the fact that it is coming up makes me feel like there was something of importance, at least on one of those sticks. Now, whether they have that after going back a couple of weeks later, I don't know. But originally there was something. Okay. Here's that Five of Pentacles again, which makes me feel like they are focused on the right person or persons. They might not have everybody yet. We have the Four of Wands, and this one flipped over. We have the Hierophant. They're not focused on the religious aspect at all. All right, the Hanged Man. Okay, so we've got, let me scoot these over here. So it's ironic that or it's not ironic, but the fact that the Five of Pentacles is coming out yet again, and this represented BG and a possible accomplice, and the fact that this is coming up for misconduct for the police, there's something there. There's a connection. But I actually kind of feel, looking at the way these are placed and how it's next to the sticks, it makes me wonder if there is some sort of physical DNA that is connecting them. Now, I know all about this. Well, I don't know all about it, but I have read reports that there was a bullet or something that was found in between the girls that belonged to Richard Allen, that they've, used that as a connection, but yet no weapon like that was used in the crime itself. Maybe a gun was used to scare the girls or frighten the girls into walking down the hill. We don't know. But there's something here that I'm feeling with evidence that is actually connecting these two guys here. All right. We've got the run-on. Okay, so this came first. Oh, I don't know how it's angled. This came first, and then this came after. So we've got one stick here, we've got four sticks here. And we also have what looks to be a church back here, okay? And then we also have the Hierophant coming out afterwards, but the Hierophant is reversed. So that is, again, I don't feel like they've dismissed the theory of this being cult related. And remember, we do have Doug Carter referencing the shack. We have Doug Carter referencing, I think, the Bible at one time in one of the press conferences. So there is something in this reading coming out with the sticks, specifically those sticks. These two guys, including Bridge Guy, okay, religion, but this coming out in reverse, again, to me, reiterates my feeling, or it just kind of, for me, confirms the feeling that I got that this was staged. They looked at it, okay, but there's still something here because of the misconduct that I'm asking about that they overlooked, or that perhaps evidence that they, could have gotten, but they lost it due to incompetence. But this is an interesting one. And then we have the Six of Swords reversed, and then we have the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man reversed makes me feel like they're still working on things. They're not done. Okay, they're still investigating, I think, going on. That is a card of pause. It's a stagnation. It's like, we're not there yet. It could also be a card of not budging. Not budging on certain things. Is that something that is holding them back from perhaps making a second arrest? Or there's this, that could be stubbornness as well. I could look at that as stubbornness. I'm not going to move. I'm comfortable here. I don't care what it looks like or how it looks or how you think about it. I'm comfortable in this decision. I'm comfortable with this investigation, even though you shouldn't be, even though there's things that you overlooked and things that you let go, things that you let slide. These two people here, are they the two people here? Are the two people that are involved in this, are they going to walk away because of this? Are they going to be able to walk away from this situation because of, some of the, mistakes that were done by police or of handling of evidence? That's kind of what I'm picking up. So I think that we will find out more information, obviously, as time goes on. But I think the way I'm looking at this, although that Justice card was upright, this here concerns me that there could be some, what's the word I'm looking for, the term, oh God, what is the term I'm looking for? I'm drawing a blank. Not probable cause, but reasonable doubt. Okay. Could this, or is this, they've raised reasonable doubt, okay, obviously, because everybody is torn on this. Or is there something that could be, well, I don't really get a technical, I don't feel like there's anything technical coming up here. I think it would be more of, reasonable doubt. And that would be because of mistakes that they've made that the defense were able to capitalize on. Okay. I just want to ask really quick, is Richard Allen's family really in danger? Is Richard Allen's wife and children in danger, as it's been stated? Is Richard Allen's, whoa, we got two that fell out. We're going to use these two. All right, we have the Eight of Wands upright, and we have the Hermit upright. I feel like it almost makes me, because this is communication, right? So it makes me feel like this could be just talk. This could be just talk on his part. trying to search for anything, trying to throw these sticks at the wall. It's amazing how the sticks have continuously came up in this read tonight, and sticks were brought up in this document. So although they might not be what the defense is saying, I do feel like they are very important to the case. There was something about those sticks, whether it be fingerprints, blood, or something. There was something about them that was overlooked or missed. But I feel like at this point in time, as far as the threats, this to me is, I'm going to throw these sticks at the wall, and whichever one sticks, okay? I'm just seeking. I'm seeking, I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to search for any little thing that I can grab, okay? That's how I'm looking at that. They're literally facing these sticks. So they're looking at all of these options. We're going to play all of these. If we have to do all 8 of these, we will do all 8 of these, okay? And if that means one of them is my wife and child is in danger, then that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm picking up. You may pick up something different, right? I'm a big believer that, these cards have their traditional definition type meanings, but you can also use what you're feeling, what you're getting from it, okay? So that's what I'm feeling. You may have something, again, completely different, and that is absolutely fine, but I'm picking up what I just said. Now, I also want to ask if there was something else about Richard Allen. What is Richard? Well, let me add in these cards again. Well, no, let me switch decks. Forgive me because I can't remember what this deck is called. What is it? I don't know. I can't remember. I want to ask about Richard Allen's mental state. Okay, what is Richard Allen's mental state? Because if you look at pictures of him, he has really lost a lot of weight. And then, there were some things I think I remember coming out a while ago about him eating paper. So what's going on there with Richard Allen and the state of his mental? What's Richard Allen's mental state? And again, that's one of those things where you could make arguments for either side. Could this man be eating paper and not sleeping and not eating because he's innocent? Or could he be eating paper and not eating or sleeping because he knows what he's done and he's been caught? I mean, there's so many. It could be either one. All right, we have the 10 of Pentacles again. So Pentacles, I felt like in this particular read tonight was a mental health thing, and that came up with the 5 of Pentacles. That 5 of Pentacles has come up twice tonight. So we've got a lot of things going on in this card. We've got, usually it's a good card. It's nothing, it's a positive, you have a positive, connotation to this card. But let's look at the picture here, because we've got a group of people partying, having a good time, okay, celebrating. We've got the group here in the middle, which is the main group. The light is focused on them. So we have a man and a woman, and we have 2 people here. So to me, that would be Richard Allen, his wife, and potentially children, so his family. But then as we span out, we have other people here that are kind of a little bit darker. They're not in his inner circle. So he has, to me, this is that light represents his feelings and his attachment to his inner circle, his family, his close family. And then he has this outer circle, all right, which could potentially represent people that he sees on a daily basis, like, neighbors, co-workers, colleagues, things like that. And then we have this outer group, but in the outer group, we have this thing over here that looks like, a monster, okay? So there's, who is this? And there's somebody else that and then we have another one back here. We have a person back here standing that looks kind of strange and creepy. But we have this person here that's also wearing kind of like a mask, okay? So there's some dark individuals here in his life. They're not in his inner circle. They're not in his work, day-to-day activities, but they are in his life, okay? They are in his life. But we're talking about the mind now, okay? So, we could look at this a couple of different ways. Are these things, is this how he, what's the word I want to look for? Maybe organizes or compartmentalizes different people in his mind? Are there just a lot of things going on? Is this a personality thing? I'm not a psychologist, but there's definitely a lot going on in his mind. But I need to draw more. Okay, so what is his mental state? He obviously, I feel like when I see this card, the first thing I thought is that this is a man who has demons, okay? Mentally, he has some demons, and some pretty big ones too. And because they're in the background, they don't always come out, okay? He puts on a real nice show for the people here in the center. He puts on a pretty good show for the people out here. But back here, okay, his true self that he keeps in hiding, that's a big creature back there. So that tells me that I feel like there's some pretty hefty things that he has going on in his mind. Okay, so we have, again, the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, we have a demon again. Of course, this is the deck, right? So I'm going to go back to Rider-Waite, and I'm going to pull again on the same question to see, because it is kind of geared towards these demon-looking like creatures. And to be fair, I want to use that deck too. But we have this person here. Again, I can't help but to get this mirror reflective image out of my head. I know it's a person here or a child painting, okay, or doing a portrait, and he's doing a portrait of this thing here. So could this be Richard Allen at a younger age? Okay, did something click for him, or something happen when he was younger, okay, a boy? And is this how he sees himself? Because I'm seeing this as him looking in the mirror and seeing his reflection. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because of the way his hand is up. It's almost kind of like, how people will sometimes, or kids, or especially kids, will make, reflect, or, just mess around and try to see the reflection move or match it with somebody, something like that. That's what came to my mind when I seen his arm out like that, okay? So this is definitely, I feel like, an internal mental mind thing of, I have some pretty serious, severe issues, big issues, but these stem back to my childhood. Okay. Let me go back to the Rider-Waite. Let me give it a good shuffle here. Mental state of Richard Allen. I can tell you right now, if the Five of Pentacles comes out, I'm going to be shook. Okay, yeah, so he has definitely got some mind issues. Possibly mother issues, female issues. A lot of internal fighting, a lot of, yeah. So then we got that balance card. Let me pull one more. The Page of Wands. Again, Page of Wands is indicating that this is something that started when he was just a young boy. Something happened to him. I would be curious to know his history, but there was something here along the way that happened to him, and it did cause some conflict, an internal conflict. Perhaps it started out, inside. Maybe it wasn't a mental thing. Maybe it was an emotional thing at first, and then it did play with his mental, because the first card that comes out to answer my question is that Eight of Swords, and it's reversed. So he really was kind of stuck. He felt stuck. He felt mentally stuck in this. I guess what I'm seeing here is a person who was really struggling and perhaps had a couple of different persons on him. He, like I said before, he was one way with his family, he was another way at work, and then he was a completely different person underneath, okay? And that person is scary. And he had no idea how to control that. He had no idea how to fix that, or even get help, or maybe even recognize that he could get help, because this is like, when it's reversed like this, when it comes out like this, the whole point of this card is to, remind a person that they're not stuck, that this is a mental thing. This is an illusion. You think you're stuck, but you're not. To me, with it coming out like this, symbolizes two things. One, he never got help. And two, maybe he didn't even recognize that he needed help, or that he could be helped, or perhaps was too ashamed or too embarrassed to get help. But there's something here that I feel like started when he was young. And it very well could have something to do with a female energy in his life, somebody close to him. So could it be his mother? Could it be a grandmother? And any kind of female motherly figure. She is also coming out reversed, so it's a negative. It's obviously a negative experience. But this really caused a lot of inner turmoil in him, okay? And I feel like with this card here, the fighting, that's that battle of, I don't want to do this, but I want to do it. I don't want to do it, but I do want to do it. And I don't know how to control that. I don't know how to deal with that. I can't be like this at home, but I can do it out here. And if I do it out here, nobody sees what I'm doing, then it's okay. But it's not okay. So it's that's how I feel like he was thinking in his mind. Again, childhood. And then we have the Temperance card. And even though the Temperance card is not coming out in reverse, I do definitely look at it as an imbalance in this case, because of the cards surrounding it. So I want to quickly end with, I just want to ask if right now, currently, is he being abused or anything like that in prison? Is he being harmed? Is he being threatened? Is he being starved? Is he, eating paper because he's hungry? Anything like that. Is that happening? No. Ace of Swords, reversed. No. This is a mind card. This is him. The answer to the question is a no, because I always look at aces as yes, if they're upright. So the answer is no. But the reasoning behind all those things is because of his state of mind. His state of mind is not right. I do believe that this is the right person that they have. However, I don't necessarily believe that he did this alone. Is there another person? Will there be any more arrests in the murders of Libby and Abby? Will there be any more arrests? And then I'm going to end this reading because I'm at an hour. Okay, and I know I talked the first 12 minutes. I apologize again. Okay, is there going to be any more arrests? Page of Swords. Okay, so that tells me that it's too early to tell, number one. This is an early card, right? If they are, and I know that sounds crazy because of the fact that this case has been going on, almost 6 years now? 5-6 years. So I feel like I got this feeling that there could definitely be another person involved, perhaps younger, and or they're working on that part of it, but they're just not quite there yet. This is a card of, sometimes I can look at this as immaturity of, I'm trying to learn and I'm doing the best that I can, but I know I'm not an expert. I'm not there yet. I'm a novice. I'm trying to get there. So it would be like they're working on getting evidence to tie to this person, or they're working on this, route, or whatever the case may be, but they're still really early on in that, which makes me think back to that hangman reversed. Okay, so there's something that's drawing me to that hangman that's making me feel like we haven't really gotten all of the information yet. Okay, they are definitely keeping things quiet. And I know a lot of people are arguing that maybe it's a little bit too quiet, and they haven't come out in response to these documents yet, as far as I know. But let me pull another card for that same question. Are they working on, or is there going to be any second arrest of anyone else involved in the murders of Abby and Libby? The Lovers. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, because that number one, that's 2. And with it being upright, that to me would represent a yes. The fact that it's the number 6, it's balanced. A couple things with this card that speaks to me. Number one, this one makes me think of the 5 of Pentacles. When the first one came out and I said this could be a woman, although I don't feel like deep down we're talking about a woman. Okay, but there's some feminine energy coming out in this read tonight, and I don't know what to quite make of that, because I don't believe that if there's anybody else involved that it's a woman. But now the female energy has come out for different questions though, but overall there's been some female energy coming out in tonight's reading. So is there a woman involved in this? Is there a woman involved here? Now, could there be a woman involved but not intentionally involved? Could there be a woman that had, a connection to somebody, and that connection maybe led to these murders, but the woman has nothing to do with the murders, kind of like when I talked about one of the moms? But there's something here with a second person, definitely. And that card makes me feel like police are aware of that, and they are still very much looking into that. 8 of Swords. Is that relationship card? I think police know that there's another person involved. Not that I'm one of those people that believe that Richard Allen could have definitely committed the crime by himself. I think that you could definitely, a grown man with a weapon could absolutely frighten 2 young girls into submitting to whatever. Everybody's like, well, if it were just him, they could have just screamed and ran off. Not necessarily. We don't really know what we would do in that situation. I don't know what I would do in that situation. When we're not in that situation, it's hard to tell. Maybe you're too scared and you're just in utter shock that this is happening. I mean, the only thing I can fathom would be my heart dropping in my chest and breaking out in a sweat and thinking to myself, oh my God, is this really happening? What am I going to do? And then before you know it, you're just going where this person is telling you to go. So I do believe that he could do this alone, but I don't believe that he did. And that's a changed view that I have. I didn't always believe that, okay? But tonight's reading, definitely, I'm feeling like there is a second person involved. Whether it's a helper, whether it's somebody younger, possibly somebody younger, but again, like I said, physically bigger than BG. And this tells me that police also feel that way. I believe that police also feel that way, and they're just not quite there yet with tying it all together. There's just too many loose ends. They're working on it, but they're not quite there yet, or they don't have enough information, or they don't have enough evidence to tie it to this person to make an arrest. So if there is an arrest made, it will be later down the line, when this work here, this hard work pays off eventually. Hopefully it does. Because I'm not necessarily... Will it ever happen? Will it ever happen? Yes or no? Will they ever make a second arrest? Will they ever have enough evidence or DNA to connect? Five of Wands. This is giving me not a good feeling. Like, it's almost like they know, they suspect, or at least somebody does. They suspect something or someone, but there just isn't enough. There just isn't. There's something here that's holding them back from pursuing it. I don't know. I feel like it's the evidence, or, again, that's a fighting card. So, it came up in reference to the DNA. So I feel like it's still representing DNA here, and it's a mess. So I feel like there could have been some incompetence in the department or the investigation. And, it could be just incompetence, nothing with malice. It could just be incompetence, not knowing, it being a small town, not having a huge thing like this ever happened before, and not necessarily knowing what to do, or, it could have been just that, and it really messed things up. So I'm going to end it there, guys, and I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on with this case, and maybe do another video. I also want to do a video on, what's those two crazy women? Ruby, Frankie, and Jody Hildebrandt. I've been kind of looking into that lately. That is just so frustrating. So, to know that, CPS had been called on these people, and people have been suspicious about things, and nothing was ever done. So I kind of want to do a reading on that. So I'm hoping to get that one out later this week. But in the meantime, I thank you guys for being here today. Again, I will put all of the information that you need, even as far as tarot readings, private readings, that'll be in the description box, and I will see you soon. All right, bye.